Top of the morning to you, laddie and lads. I'm just doing my own liver dance practice. Top of the morning to you. It is a fine day indeed, you know. For those of you who might remember me on my old review, you know, the one about Halloween, the history of Halloween, that multi-voice reviewer had done. So, for those of you who haven't seen me in the Halloween review, allow me to introduce myself. My name is O'Lucky. I might be a leprechaun, but that's me. So, who knows if I am a leprechaun or not? So one thing I want you all to know, if you want to know what my shirt says, go ahead and read it yourself. Kiss me, I'm Irish. That's right, lassie. Any old ladies who might be interested in dating an old Irish bloke who might be a leprechaun, why don't you do me a favour? Kiss me, I'm Irish. Haha. And what else am I... Oh yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. That's right. I talked to multi-voice reviewer. Since he know that St. Patrick's Day is coming, so therefore, he wants me to show up. And I did indeed, because there was a movie I want to review for you today, just for this St. Patrick's Day. Now, of course, most people used to believe in St. Patrick's Day, most Irish American people, they always go to pubs, or as you used to call it, bars, and drink. And they always dyed the beer green, just to honor the St. Patrick's Day tradition. Aye, it is. And you want to know the funny thing is? Some of you might know my name is O'Lucky, but my full name is Patrick. So therefore, my name is Patrick O'Lucky. But, enough about me. It's time for me to review a movie for you today. And this horror, well, actually it is a comedy horror movie, but mostly a fantasy. That's why I told the multi-voice reviewer not to wear his Wizard of Oz costume in this review, because I decided to pitch in instead. So, the movie I'm going to review for you today is none other than The Leprechaun in 1993. That's right. This movie, when they first made it, it was made to be a children's movie in the first place. But instead, there were a lot of kid-friendly Leprechaun movies, so therefore they decided to make it into a horror movie. And now, Leprechaun is up there with all the other boogeyman killers, like Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or Chucky or any of the other famous ones, even Jason Voorhees. So this here's Leprechaun, and much to my surprise, this movie here, you can see there's Jennifer Aniston over there. Aye. That Jennifer Aniston, she has a nice pair of legs on her. Indeed. I like Jennifer Aniston. One of these days, if I ever met Jennifer Aniston, I'd like to invite her to one of my special pubs and join me for a pint of Guinness. Because I just love Guinness. It's the best beer in the world. And of course, one thing not many people know, that the guy who played the Leprechaun, The guy who played the Leprechaun is none other than... His name is Warwick Davis. And unlike other actors, he ain't Irish, he's British. But of course, most people probably would remember Warwick Davis in this movie. Willow. That's right. The guy who played the Leprechaun played Willow in this movie. You know, the one about the dwarf who wants to be a sorcerer. You know, I should talk to Multi-Voice Reviewer into getting back into his, to get himself into the Wizard of Oz costume and review this movie. Because this one is a cult classic, indeed. Anyway, now, Warwick Davis, not only did he play the Leprechaun in a horror movie, one time he did play a kid-friendly version of the Leprechaun called A Very Unlucky Leprechaun, which is just a kid-friendly movie, but I'm not going to talk about that one. I'm going to talk about the Leprechaun in hand. And for those of you who wants to know, can I do the impression of the Leprechaun? Why, certainly. I want me gold coin. My coin. It's not nice to steal gold coins from a leprechaun. Now, in the story, this is how the story goes in this one. In this one, there was an Irish guy who traveled in Ireland, and it turns out that he stole the leprechaun's pot of gold. So now he thinks he's rich. But the leprechaun followed him all the way to America. And of course, the leprechaun killed his wife when she accidentally fell down the stairs. But as the guy shot him with his shotgun, he had a 4-leaf clover. And the 4-leaf clover is like his kryptonite. He got really weak. So he puts him in a crate and put the 4-leaf clover on top. And then years later, his house has been renovated. And then out comes Jennifer Aniston. She played a teenage whatever kind of girl who always complained about the outdoors and the dusty old houses. She thinks she's better off where she's from. But she stayed because there was a painter who's a good-looking guy, but he also has a slow fat man and a little boy who has a heart of gold, so to speak. But as it turns out, the fat man accidentally removed the 4-leaf clover, so therefore the leprechaun had got himself out of the crate. And now he's wreaking havoc in order to find his gold coin. And to make matters worse, that fat one swallowed one of the gold coins. So now he has one inside his stomach. And of course that little kid went over to a pawn shop. And the pawn owner was actually Daryl. You know Daryl. From that show, Bob Newhart, Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. Well, this Daryl, he died because a leprechaun was jumping on a pogo stick right on his chest. Horrible way to die, I say. And of course, Jennifer Aniston doesn't believe in leprechauns, but as he showed up right in front of her, she said, "What are you?" And he said, "I'm a leprechaun." So now they decided to try to get rid of that leprechaun. So Jennifer Aniston went to the old nursing home where the guy is at. Where the old man is at. Told him that the thing is out of its crate. And she found him in the elevator all scratched up pretty bad. And dying. And he says, use the 4-leaf clover. It's his weakness. So now Jennifer Aniston found himself a 4-leaf clover. Oh, and here's a little funny thing. the cereal company who does the the cereal company who does these Lucky Charms, they decided to make a deal to have its product on the movie. But as they figured out that the movie was a horror movie, they remove it immediately. So therefore, they had a replacement. They had a box of cereal called Lucky Clovers instead. But as the leprechaun took a bite of it, he spits it out because he didn't like it. And now I hear that somebody did a horror movie where it's a parody to Lucky Charms called Unlucky Charms. Of course, there's a full moon movie, and it's just a B-rated horror movie anyway. Just like Leprechaun. It is. And then Jennifer Aniston, she finally found a 4-leaf clover. And that little kid took a piece of gum and the 4-leaf clover, put it in his little slingshot, and he says the most famous line, "F you, Lucky Charms." And then the leprechaun gets swallowed and he fell into the well and died. So they thought. As you can see, as you can hear his voice coming from the chimney saying that he'll be back. The movie made a lot of money. The movie made a lot of money that they decided to make a sequel all of a sudden. And the sequels get stranger and stranger and stranger. So they made this movie, and it's called Leprechaun 2, made in 1994. In this one, he's supposed... airplanes. Huh. Anyway. Oh, might be a bird, might be a plane. Might be Superman. Nah, I don't think so. Anyway, in this one, he claims to be a different leprechaun, so 4-leaf clover ain't his weakness. His weakness is somebody has his pot of gold. Like if somebody got a coin from his gold, he'll be weak because he can't harm them. But he's also trying to find a bride. Aye. Turns out he had a backstory that he fell in love with a princess and he wanted to make her his bride because he has a lot of pot of gold. But sadly, he was foiled. And then now he's going after a girl who is like a descendant to the princess. But as usual, that movie foiled again. And then after that movie, they decided to make another one, and this one was getting more ridiculous than the next. And this one is called Leprechaun 3. In this one, he went to Las Vegas. Imagine that. Leprechaun going into Las Vegas. Huh. Hardly any luck in Las Vegas. Trust me, I know. But I'm afraid that the leprechaun is not so lucky after all when he's in Las Vegas. So he's foiled again, as usual. And then they made the most outrageous and ridiculous sequel ever made that I just could not even believe they decided to make it this way. And this one is called Leprechaun 4 in Space. Seriously. So now he's no longer in Las Vegas, but now he's in outer space? And they make it to be more of a parody to Alien. And of course, to make matters worse, you even see the leprechaun using a lightsaber and cutting a soldier's leg off. And they always keep blowing him up throughout the entire movie. And it's all because some woman who is actually an alien that he fell in love with in space. But the soldiers decided to destroy him and get his pot of gold. Get his gold. Hey. I mean, these Leprechaun movies are getting stranger and stranger and stranger by the minute. I tell ya. And now, they decided to make another Leprechaun movie. And this time, this one took another turn for the worse. And this Leprechaun movie is called Leprechaun in the Hood, made in 2000. That's right. First he was in Las Vegas, and now he's in space. First he was in Las Vegas, and then he was in space, and now he's in the ghetto, becoming a hood gangster. Slibbity diggity. You dig, dog? And guess who else is in this movie here? Famous rapper and actor, Ice-T. Oh, snap. Who'd have thought that Ice-T would be starring in a Leprechaun movie? But, hey, he had to start somewhere, right? And they say that Leprechaun in the Hood was the first time that he decided to smoke weed. Or as you can say, rockin' the ganja. And he also smoked a bong. I don't know why Warwick Davis signed in to do all this. I don't know why, but I guess he kind of likes it. I mean, after Willow, I guess he needs to continue on doing something else. Aye? And then they did it again with a new Leprechaun movie. And this one is called Leprechaun Back to the Hood. Well, this time the Leprechaun survives again, and he shows up back in the hood. And a group of black people decided to deal with the Leprechaun and try to stop him once and for all. It's not often you see a Leprechaun who joins with a bunch of hooded gangsters and start rapping and even speaking slang like, yo, yo, what's up, dog, snippity diggity. I got the music out here, and you can see this weatch beyond your crib. I say weatch because I don't want to say the B word. And after that movie, that was like the end of the Leprechaun. But not for long. Because they made a new Leprechaun movie. But this one has nothing to do with the rest of the movies. But they're saying they're part of the legacy. Except this one is just a straight out horror movie, not a comedy. So it's a fantasy horror. Except this Leprechaun doesn't talk. And it ain't played by Warwick Davis anymore. This Leprechaun, this movie, is none other than Leprechaun Origin. And this one was made in 2014. And this is the latest Leprechaun movie made. In this one, you have a group of teenagers who goes to this small town in Ireland. And they kept warning him that the entire town is overrun by evil leprechauns. And all of a sudden, there's one leprechaun who keeps roaming around, killing the teenagers one by one. Except unlike the leprechaun that we know from the previous movies, these leprechauns, they look like goblins from Lord of the Rings. Aye, it does. And they don't talk. They just go, and they eat people too. And this time, this Leprechaun wasn't played by Warwick Davis anymore. I mean, after those last Leprechaun movies, they decided to recast the Leprechaun by somebody else. And can you believe that Leprechaun movie was part of WWF Studios? So the actor who plays the creature Leprechaun is none other than Delane Poste, also known as Hornwoggle. Yes, they hired a dwarf wrestler playing the Leprechaun creatures. Except he ain't talking in it. Actually, he doesn't talk at all. And that there is the rest of the Leprechaun saga. Cannot believe these people are playing music out in the neighborhood. Can the Leprechaun get some peace and quiet here? I don't know about you, but I'm going back to my pub and enjoying myself another pint of Guinness, if you don't mind. So, any of you who love this review, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. And there'll be more videos coming soon. So, happy St. Patrick's Day. Now, if you don't mind, I'm river dancing the way to the bar.